Hi, I'm Gary, and welcome to my galley. In the galley today, we are celebrating hot chocolate season. So come with me. We're going to head over there to the galley, and we're going to make from scratch hot, chocolatey, creamy, delicious hot chocolate. And we're also going to make instant hot cocoa mix that you can use for instant hot cocoa to give away as gifts, and all of this with no added chemicals, no preservatives, just fresh hot cocoa and chocolate. So let's head on to the galley and get started. So here we are, hot chocolate doing first. Now, hot chocolate versus hot cocoa. Hot chocolate is milk, sugar, and chocolate. Now, I like milk, sugar, chocolate, and cocoa powder in my hot chocolate. Now, hot cocoa is milk, sugar, and just cocoa. So, the hot chocolate we're going to make today, we're going to do a mix of chocolate and cocoa powder. Now, when you're discussing your cocoa powder and which cocoa powder to choose, you see on the shelf the Dutch cocoa powder and then like your natural cocoa powder, like the Hershey's. So the Dutch cocoa powder is what I really prefer for my hot chocolate. The Dutch is a more rich chocolatey flavor. But if you're going to bake cakes, make chocolate cake, and you're going to have any kind of raising agent, like baking powder or baking soda, Dutch is processed with an alkaline that does not react well with those raising agents. So you can find your cake doing funny things. So if you're doing a cake, you definitely want the regular cocoa powder, just like the Hershey's cocoa powder. Now, I am lucky enough that I have room for both, but if you only have room for one cocoa powder, go with just the Hershey's, go with the natural, because then you can use that in everything. In this, there's no limits to it. So we're going to start with our cocoa powder. We're going to go to the Dutch. I'm not sure if I have enough Dutch, but we'll finish my Dutch off. Now, this recipe makes about 4 servings. And for that 4 servings, we want a 1/4 cup of your cocoa. I'm going to get a spoon so I can get all of this out of there. I sent Billy yesterday. He went to the store for me, and Dutch cocoa powder, because I knew it was almost out, was on there, and he went to 2 different stores, bless him, and or actually I think he went to 3, and nobody had Dutch cocoa. So I have just enough. So for my cocoa powder, I always like to sift it through a strainer because, as you know, cocoa powder tends to want to lump up, and this really just gets it all light and fluffy. All right, so I'm going to do the same amount of sugar. So a 1/4 cup sugar and a 1/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. Now, if you think that my sugar looks a little dark, I really like this golden sugar. It's less processed, so it still has a little bit of that molasses in it. So you still have some of that dark color. So it's, you have sugar in the raw that's hardly processed. So this is just not as processed as that refined white sugar that we get. So I just think it tastes really nice. And it's less processed. So that's always a good thing. And I did find, though, that making your simple syrup isn't clear, but I really don't think that matters. Now, this step, if you were just doing a really quickie and you just needed you a cup of hot chocolate, you don't have to do this step. But if you have the time and you're making it So you're doing a hot chocolate bar and you want to fill up your carafe of hot chocolate and you really want to take the time to do it. I do my cocoa powder and sugar and a quarter cup of heavy cream. Now, I like the heavy cream in here just because it really adds a lot of body to your hot chocolate. And what I want to make is a paste. And the reason I'm doing this like this is it makes it easier to incorporate it into my milk. Now, for your hot chocolate, you can use any kind of milk you like. I'm using whole milk because I want my hot chocolate to really have some body to it. You can use almond milk if you need to. You can use 2%. Just know it's just going to be a little bit thinner and not as rich. So I'm making this paste, and this paste is going to allow me to incorporate that much easier into my milk and not have lumps. So let's take it to the stove and we'll get our hot chocolate cooking. So I've got my pan, I've got it over medium heat. We don't want to burn our milk or scorch it, so try not to bring this to a boil. So we are going to do 4 cups of milk. Again, this recipe is for 4 people. So we've got 4 cups of milk. And I'm going to whisk in that chocolate cinnamon paste that we made. And if you've ever put cocoa powder like in cold milk and it just doesn't even make it wet. So this helps when you do it, this paste helps your milk and cocoa powder combined easier. Now for my chocolate, and this is where you can make this hot chocolate like this, and then you'll know, do I want more sugar or do I want less sugar? And my chocolate, I have 60% cocoa, and you might want to go darker. You might want to go sweeter. So you get to choose how sweet you like your, or chocolatey. You could add more chocolate if you don't think it's chocolatey enough. So have fun experimenting till you get this chocolate till just the perfect way you like it. This for me is the perfect way that Billy and I like it. So we just want to whisk this till our chocolate melts and we're nice and warm. Again, don't overheat your milk. Just keep it at a nice low to medium low heat and let this come up and melt. And that's it. You've made hot chocolate. Just that simple. So while this cooks or finishes heating up and melting, we will start on our cocoa mix. So just how simple was that? Milk, sugar, chocolate, cocoa, and you have rich, creamy, delicious hot chocolate and no chemicals. It's almost ready to taste. That chocolate almost melted. So I wrote down the ingredients from instant hot cocoa mix, like the little packaged instant hot cocoa mix, because we're going to make some. And I just want to show you the difference and when you make it and what's in those box ones that, yes, they're easy and convenient, but this is what they have in them. Sugar. All right, I'm down with that. I got my sugar. Corn syrup. I don't want corn syrup in my hot chocolate, so I'm going to say no to that. Modified whey. No, I'm going to say no to that too. Cocoa. Got it. Got my cocoa. I'm down with that one. Diputasium phosphate. Yeah, again, I'm going to say no to that. I know I didn't even pronounce it right. Hydrogenated coconut oil. I don't need that in my hot cocoa. Non-fat milk. Got it. Got my milk. And then it said corn syrup again. So for some reason, corn syrup twice. Okay, this one I know I don't know how to say. Diglycerides. I have no idea. So if I really have no idea what it is, or if I can't pronounce it, then I'm going to say no to that in my hot cocoa. Cornstarch, I don't need cornstarch. I don't want it in my cocoa. And gelatin. So instead, we can make instant cocoa. And you can make this, you can put it in a container where you just dip into it when you want hot cocoa. You can do it in individual bags. So if you want a hot cocoa, you just open up that bag, and this is it. 3 simple ingredients to do that. And I think I better check over here. I don't want to burn my milk. And I think it's just perfect. So I'm going to be fancy here and use my measuring cup to pour me some hot chocolate. I'm ready for some hot chocolate. It sounds really, really yummy. Now, of course, you have the standard marshmallow that you can maybe open up and put in there. I can't open it. Ah! Marshmallows on the floor. So you can put marshmallows on the top. But I gotta tell you, after all of that trouble, really, I'm a whipped cream girl. I like whipped cream on my hot chocolate. So I took the liberty of making some whipped cream, and I'm going to put that on. And that's just going to melt in there and make it even creamier. And then I have these little baby mini chips, chocolate chips. And I think we'll sprinkle some of those on. And just look at this beautiful mug. Beautiful hot chocolate. Oh, it just makes you feel warm and cozy. It's thick, but not too thick. It's rich. It's creamy. To me, it's perfect. This is my version of the perfect chocolate and sugar ratio. But you play with it and come up with what works perfect for you. But make your own hot chocolate. It's super easy. So I want to move to the instant hot cocoa powder. So this is a great thing to give as a gift during the holiday season, just those kind of handout gifts to people that you see, and you want to give them a little something. Maybe it's the mailman or a teacher, or just an act of kindness, handing somebody something during the holidays. So I like to take this hot instant cocoa mix, put it in a little bag, get mugs at the dollar store. They don't cost you hardly anything. Hot cocoa, I'm sorry, and a little bag of marshmallows, and you have this great little inexpensive gift to hand out to people for the holidays. Great acts of kindness for this. And it's homemade, so it's from the heart. It's even better. So for this, now again, you can just put this in a container like this and just scoop it out when you need it, or you can do individual little bags if that makes it easy, maybe for your kids to make themselves some hot cocoa. And this recipe, it makes a lot. I'm not really sure how much it makes altogether, but it makes quite a bit. But it's a 1/3 cup of this mix to 1 cup of hot water, and you have instant hot cocoa without just dipla something in it. It's just pure ingredients. Now, obviously, cocoa is one of them, and it's a cup of cocoa. And again, I'm gonna sift all 3 of these together so they'll make a really nice fine powder. So for my 1 cup of cocoa, I'm going to jump up to 2 cups of confectioner sugar. You can use regular sugar, but confectioner sugar works better for this because when that hot water hits it, it just dissolves faster. So people aren't having to keep stirring it to get that sugar to dissolve. So for that reason, I think the confectioner sugar is the way to go here. So we're going to go 2 cups of confectioner sugar. And again, this makes a lot. You get a lot of individual servings out of there. I have just not measured out how many exactly you get. So we're going to go 2 cups of confectioner sugar. I don't know where my lid is. I'll find it in a minute. And then 2 cups of dried milk. Now, this is whole milk powder that I always keep on hand. Again, when you live on a boat, grocery stores, they're not always convenient, and it can be weeks before you get to a grocery store. And if you want hot chocolate, you might need milk. So the best thing about this brand is in my Amazon store. I'll actually link to it. I love this brand, and the ingredient list is milk. No hidden anything in here. So the ingredient list is just milk. And I get their buttermilk powder, and I get their heavy cream powder, which is so fantastic when you just want to make some biscuits and you don't have any buttermilk, and you can whip some buttermilk up really quick. And again, all of the ingredients is just that buttermilk or cream or milk. So you can rely on it to not have a lot of hidden things you don't want. So we're going to go 2 cups, and I'll finish that off. So I've got 2 cups of dry milk, 2 cups of confectioner sugar, and 1 cup of cocoa. And once you sift it through here, you have instant hot cocoa mix to serve. So I'm going to finish sifting this, and we're going to go over to the hot chocolate bar that I have set up, and I'll show you just some of the things that I like to put on my cocoa bar. Some for adults, some for kids, and we'll go check it out. So I'll see you right over there at the hot cocoa bar. So when we had our boat inspiration, we dressed her up in lights every December, and would be in the lighted parade on the Sacramento River. And I always like to do a little hot chocolate bar for my guest that would come out to the parade to ride in the parade with us. It's a really easy, fun thing to do, and it's not an overly expensive thing to do. So it is that time of year when we're having parties, so a hot cocoa bar is always welcome. Now, obviously, my crafts are not new, but that's okay. I like old things. But they work just fine. So you have the choice of making your hot chocolate and putting it in your carafe for people to serve themselves, or putting that instant hot cocoa mix in a tin. I could have filled that up a little more, huh? And let people make their own. Now, I will tell you that even if you do a hot cocoa bar and you bought those packages, I think making it ahead of time and put it in the carafe is the way to go. When people kind of have to self-serve themselves with this, then you got to have to think about, well, what are they going to stir it with? And where are they going to throw that thing that they stirred it with? So I honestly think the best thing to do is if you use the instant, make it, put it in your carafe, or just make the hot chocolate and put it in your carafe, and that makes it easier for your guests. They're just ready to start adding all their toppings. So I've got a couple different things on here. This is my caramel simple syrup that I make for my coffee, but it's also something that's a nice addition for your hot chocolate. And this is my candy cane simple syrup, which would also make your hot chocolate pepperminty, which would be really good. So that's another addition. Obviously, we have those marshmallows that don't want to let me in. So I advise, if you happen to have this container, to open it for your guests so they don't have to. But what I wanted to tell you is these little wooden scoops are so cute, and they have them right now at Hobby Lobby. So if you, I think a package of 4. So if you're looking for some little wooden scoops like this, they have them right now at Hobby Lobby. Also at Hobby Lobby, I just got these. It is red glitter sugar and some holiday sprinkles. So that's fun for the kids. Also, the mini chocolate chips. And also for a little treat, just holiday kisses, some cookies. But then we move on for the adults. And I like to put a little booze over here so that you might want to add a little Bailey's to your hot chocolate. This is chocolate liqueur. You might want to add that. Rum chata. Rum chata is really good in hot chocolate. This is some Kahlua. I don't know. I think it's Kahlua and whiskey. So, and just a little bit of whiskey. So, some adult beverages are always a good idea too for the adults to add to their hot chocolate. Now, I like these cups. You can use cups that you just have, your coffee cups, or you can get some disposable. But these plastic cups with a plastic lid, a 2-pack is $1, so 50 cents a piece. And that way you can just let your guests take them home with them. Or if they don't and leave them with you, you have them again for next year. They're washable and reusable. So I really like this idea for the cups. You're not creating trash. It's something that can be reused, and it's also something that your guests could take home with them. So I hope you enjoyed making hot chocolate today, and I hope that inspires you to throw away all those chemicals and make your own fresh hot chocolate and hot cocoa. Hope everybody a wonderful holiday season, and until next time, safe cruising.